GitHub Copilot's weekly costs nearly doubled since January. Starting June 1st, you're paying the difference. The flat-rate AI coding era is over. GitHub Copilot is the most widely used AI coding tool on the planet. Millions of developers use it every day. Until now, the deal was simple. You paid a flat monthly fee, somewhere between $10 and $39 depending on your plan, and you got a pool of requests and premium requests. Tab complete a line of code, that's a request. Ask the chat panel a question, that's a premium request. The model didn't matter much. The length of the session didn't matter. You just had your bucket of requests and you used them. That model worked fine when AI coding meant autocomplete. You'd type a few characters, get a suggestion, tab to accept, done. Low token count, predictable cost per user, easy to subsidize. Every user cost roughly the same because every user consumed roughly the same amount of compute. The subscription math was clean. But that's not how people use AI tools anymore. Sometime in the last 6 months, the usage curve bent hard. Agents arrived and everything changed. An agent doesn't just suggest the next line. It runs for hours at a time. It touches dozens of files. It makes multiple tool calls, reads your entire code base, reasons about dependencies, and generates massive amounts of output. Then it reads its own output, checks for errors, and generates even more output to fix them. The token consumption isn't 10% more than autocomplete. It's 10 to 100 times more per session. And people are running multiple sessions a day. GitHub says they can no longer absorb those costs, and starting June 1st, they won't. If you're an indie developer using AI agents to build a game, you're about to feel this directly. And I don't mean eventually. I mean your very next billing cycle after June 1st. Here's a concrete example. Say you fire up an agentic coding session to refactor your inventory system, update the corresponding UI layer, and fix a batch of save game bugs that have been piling up. 3 tasks, 1 agent session, maybe 2 hours of runtime. That one session can burn more tokens than you'd use in an entire week of regular autocomplete. Under the new model, that session costs real money, not premium request money. Actual per token money, billed at the model's API rate. The question isn't whether your bill goes up. It's how much and whether you can afford it when you're running sessions like that every single day. So here's what's actually changing piece by piece. Starting June 1st, GitHub Copilot moves to what they're calling AI credits. Your monthly subscription still exists, but instead of a pool of requests, your usage now tracks actual token consumption. Input tokens, output tokens, cache tokens, each one is priced at the underlying model's API rate. So the cost of every interaction depends on 2 things: which model you're using and how many tokens it processes during that interaction. This is fundamentally different from the old model. Before, a quick question and a 4-hour agent session cost the same against your request limit. Now they cost wildly different amounts because the token counts are wildly different. The person who uses Copilot for autocomplete a few times an hour pays almost nothing. The person who runs agents all day pays a lot. GitHub is essentially saying you pay for what you consume and your consumption is measured in tokens. The pricing is model specific and the spread is significant. GPT 5.4 mini runs about $4.50 per million output tokens. That's the cheap, fast model, good for routine tasks, code completion, simple questions. Then there's GPT 5.5 at $30 per million output tokens. That's nearly 7 times more expensive per token. If you're running agents on GPT 5.5 for hours at a time, the math gets brutal quickly. And those are just 2 models in the lineup. Every model has its own rate. Now there's some good news mixed in. Code completion and the next edit feature, those don't consume AI credits at all. They stay free, no matter how much you use them. So if you're the kind of developer who mostly relies on tab completing lines of code, accepting inline suggestions, and using next edit to jump between changes, your bill barely changes. You're not the target of this pricing shift. The billing only triggers on chat interactions, agent sessions, and multi-step workflows, the things that actually consume large volumes of tokens. The people getting hit are the ones using agents heavily, running complex multi-file operations, or leaning heavily on the chat panel with expensive models for extended conversations about their code base. That's where the costs explode. Copilot code reviews are billed separately too. Those cost GitHub Actions minutes, not AI credits. Different bucket, different accounting. Worth knowing if your team uses that feature. One smart thing GitHub is doing. They're giving users a preview build tool before June 1st. You can see exactly what your current usage would cost under the new model before the switch happens. Use it. Seriously. Go look at your numbers now. Don't wait until the billing change hits. Open the tool up, run through your last few weeks of usage, and see what the damage looks like under the token-based model. That preview might genuinely change how you approach your daily workflow. It might change which model you default to. It might change how often you kick off an agent versus writing code yourself. And there are signs GitHub has been bracing for this shift for a while now. They paused new signups recently. They removed Claude Code from the Pro tier, one of the most capable and most expensive models available. They've been tightening limits across the board, reducing the number of premium requests, pulling back on feature availability. These aren't random product decisions. All of that points to one thing. The economics were breaking down under the surface, and they had to act before the numbers got worse. The June 1st change is the structural fix. Here's the root cause. Agentic workflows consume tokens at 10 to 100 times the rate of simple autocomplete. Tools that run nearly always on multi-agent workflows, where multiple AI agents coordinate on your code base for hours at a time, reading files, writing code, running tests, debugging, then reading more files and writing more code. Those are the real cost drivers. One agent session can cost more than an entire month of traditional Copilot usage. The flat rate model was never designed for that kind of consumption. It was a subsidy, and subsidies always end when the numbers stop working. Leaked internal documents reported by Ed Zitron show GitHub's week-over-week Copilot cost nearly doubled since January. Not gradually over a year, nearly doubled in a matter of months. That's a system breaking under demand. The agents ate the margin and the flat rate pricing couldn't keep up. But here's the thing, this isn't just GitHub. It's a pattern repeating across every AI coding platform right now. Anthropic is charging large enterprise Claude subscribers full compute costs instead of the subscription discounts they used to get. No more volume breaks. If you're a big company running Claude across hundreds of developers, your bill now reflects the actual cost of every inference call. They tested removing Claude Code from the $20 Pro plan entirely because the demand was simply untenable. Too many power users running agents all day, burning through capacity faster than Anthropic could provision it. Think about that for a second. Anthropic, a company valued at hundreds of billions of dollars, literally considered pulling their flagship coding product from the standard plan because too many people were using it too hard. Right now, they're rationing Claude Code access during peak hours, specifically 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you've tried to use Claude Code in the morning and hit a usage wall, that's not a bug, that's a cost control. They literally can't afford to let everyone run agents simultaneously during the busiest window. The compute isn't there, the margin isn't there, Cursor is reportedly weighing similar moves. Multiple people familiar with the matter have indicated they're evaluating usage-based pricing changes, and this makes complete sense. If the two biggest players in AI coding, GitHub and Anthropic, are both moving to usage-based models, the economic pressure is real. Cursor uses models from OpenAI, Anthropic, and others. They're paying those per token API costs already. If their users are running agents around the clock, Cursor's margins compress just like everyone else's. The economics of AI coding are shifting across the entire industry from all you can eat to pay for what you use. And agents eat a lot. So what does this mean for your actual workflow? Let's get concrete with some numbers. Say you're building an inventory system for a game. Under the old Copilot model, it didn't matter whether you used autocomplete or an agent to do it. Same monthly fee, but under the new model, that same task has a very different cost profile depending on your approach. Approach 1, you use autocomplete and targeted chat prompts on GPT 5.4 mini. You write the skeleton yourself, ask the chat for specific functions, and let autocomplete handle the boilerplate. You might burn a few thousand tokens total. Cost, pennies. The model's cheap, the token count is low, and code completion doesn't cost anything. Approach 2. You kick off an agent on GPT 5.5 and say refactor my entire inventory system, update the UI layer to match, fix any bugs you find, and make sure the save system still works. That agent is going to read through your entire code base, understand the relationships between files, make changes across maybe 12 to 15 files, run tests, fix issues it finds, and loop until it's satisfied. 2 hours later, you've burned through potentially hundreds of thousands of tokens on a $30 per million model. That single session could cost several dollars. Do that every day for a month, and you're looking at a very different bill than the $10 or $19 a month you're used to paying. Now multiply that across your entire development cycle. Inventory system 1 week, enemy AI the next, quest system after that, level generator, crafting system, dialogue trees. Each one an agentic session burning expensive tokens. Some of those sessions take 2 hours, some take 4. On a frontier model at $30 per million tokens, the monthly total adds up fast. You could easily be looking at $50 to $100 a month, maybe more, depending on how heavily you lean on agents. That's a 5 to 10 times increase over what you're paying now for the same subscription. And here's the uncomfortable part. Most indie devs I talk to haven't budgeted for this. They built their workflow around the assumption that AI coding costs are fixed and predictable. That assumption dies on June 1st. The optimization strategy is straightforward, but most people aren't thinking about it yet because they've never had to use cheap models for routine work. GPT 5.4 mini for autocomplete style tasks, straightforward code generation, simple refactors, boilerplate creation. Save the expensive models for the hard problems where the extra capability actually matters. Complex architectural decisions, tricky bugs that require deep reasoning, multi-system refactors that need to understand your entire code base, routes intelligently between models. Don't default to the most expensive one just because it's available. Think about it like compute resources in any other context. You don't spin up a 100 GPU cluster to train a model on a small dataset. You don't use a supercomputer to compile a Hello World program. Same principle applies here. Match the model to the task. And there's a real opportunity here too. Models like DeepSeek V4 Flash are getting competitive on quality while being dramatically cheaper per token. If you're smart about routing, you can get 80% of the capability at 20% of the cost. That's the game now. The deeper story behind all of this is about the AI industry itself. And it's worth understanding because it tells you this isn't a temporary blip. This is the new normal. These companies are burning through cash at staggering rates. GitHub's parent company, Microsoft, reportedly subsidizes billions of dollars in AI inference costs every single year. Not development costs, not research costs, just the cost of running the models that respond to your prompts. Billions every year. That's not a rounding error. That's a line item that someone at Microsoft is paying very close attention to. Anthropic raised $5 billion from Amazon. And right now, TechCrunch and Reuters are reporting that the company has received preemptive offers for a $50 billion round at an $850 to $900 billion valuation. The board is expected to decide in May. That's not confirmed yet, but it's being reported by 2 major outlets with sourced information. If it goes through, it would be one of the largest private funding rounds in history. OpenAI just ended its exclusive partnership with Microsoft specifically to get access to Amazon's investment money too. These companies are spending tens of billions on compute infrastructure, GPU clusters, data centers, energy contracts. The capital requirements are enormous, and none of them are profitable from subscriptions alone. Your $10 monthly subscription doesn't cover a fraction of what you consume in inference costs. Your $20 subscription doesn't either. Nothing close. The gap between what users pay and what it costs to serve them has been growing wider every month, and agents made it exponential. The subsidy era was always temporary. It lasted until usage patterns shifted enough to break the model. Agents were that shift. They multiplied token consumption by orders of magnitude overnight. The flat rate pricing couldn't scale. Now the bill comes due and the platforms are passing it to the people actually consuming the resources. That's you, that's me. That's everyone who uses AI agents to write code. This is exactly the kind of optimization that separates developers who ship from developers who go broke on inference. Inside AI Craft, we're building cost-optimized AI coding stacks for real game projects. Cheap models for routine work, expensive models only when you need them, smart routing between DeepSeek V4 Flash, GPT 5.4 mini, and frontier models like GPT 5.5 and Claude Opus. The community is testing real workflows on real code bases and sharing actual cost data, not theoretical pricing. If you're going to build with AI agents, and at this point you probably should be, you need to know how to keep the bill sustainable. Everything I just showed you, the cost optimization strategies, the model routing, the smart stacking between cheap and expensive models, we're doing it live inside AI Craft on real game projects. Join the community and learn how to ship with AI without the bill killing you. Please feel free to subscribe and check out the links in the description below.